So you'd like to install the lessons tool as a way to get started?
Absolutely.
Okay. So we do that by going to Site Info,
Okay.
going to Edit Tools,
Okay.
and this is where we get to add new tools to our site, and everybody has the power to do that. So we want lessons. This is going to put a button on the left-hand menu. We can change the title if we want to. No reason to do that right now. And now lessons shows up. Now
And
if we
let's
want that to be in a
move it.
different place, we can.
Yes, let's move it to just above assignments. Yep. I'm just going to click on it and drag it up. One more. There we go.
Okay. Cool.
Perfect. Okay.
So your first assignment is due 9/18.
Yep.
Of course, we've done that already, so we're going to just build that out now because it's they've already gone through it.
Yep.
So then we're going to call this week 1.
Let me think about this. As I look at my syllabus, I've got things broken into 5 units.
Would you rather say Unit 1?
I think Unit 1 because we don't meet weekly, we meet every 3 weeks.
Okay.
So let's say Unit 1.
And do you have a subgroup for Unit 1?
So good question. The way I've got things set up right now, for Unit 1, I have 1 homework assignment. For Unit 2, I have 2 homework assignments and so forth.
Okay, so it sounds like units the way to go.
Yep.
So in a way, you might want to actually call this units rather than lessons.
Yep, we could do that. Let's stick with lessons for now, and maybe if that makes sense, change it later.
Now, you always see this help screen that tells you how to do lessons until you do one. And it's kind of, not laid out in like the easiest possible way.
Yep.
But as soon as we have one there, this goes away. And lessons are basically sub-pages.
Okay.
So you can have sub-pages within sub-pages, but this is in Sakai what we call lessons.
So you can have layers of subpages.
Yes.
Okay, subpages nested within. Okay,
Exactly.
got it.
So
Yep.
we're going to call this Unit 1.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as you see, we are in Unit 1.
Okay.
To go back to the level above, we click this refresh arrow.
Yep.
So now here we are. That's what we've got.
Okay, good.
Do we want to build out a couple more links just since we're here?
Let's build out all 5 and let me see if I can do this. So I want to add
Yes.
content?
Mm-hmm.
Whoops. And I scroll down the subpage. I name it Unit 2. Create. I'm just going to go ahead and...
Not here.
Oops,
You
back
have to
here.
risk- Yeah, right.
Got it. Always have to go back, add content. Okay, so subpage, Unit 3, create, refresh.
Great.
Great, okay, so now I've got my 5 units, which is what I need for the full semester.
Mm-hmm. And now we want to build out the first unit.
Yes.
So we can go into the first unit by clicking on it.
Okay.
Now we want to ask, well, what things need to be there? One thing that we know wants to be there is your assignment associated with that unit.
Question. Can we go back to where we just were?
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't I click that edit?
Because edit just allows you to do things to this.
Okay.
Like I want to change the name of it.
Okay, gotcha. But now if I want to build the unit, I click on the unit itself. Okay.
So just the assignment is the easiest thing to add. So
Okay.
we just go to add assignment and this is going to then look through our assignments. Resources would be pretty much the same way.
Yep.
And you pick the one that you want.
Yep. Perfect.
So that wasn't very painful.
No. Now, do I have to save?
No, it's there.
So,
So we
can
go
we?
down to lessons.
Yep.
And we click on unit 1. There it is.
Oh, and now I see all my help text is gone.
Mhm.
Question. If I click on assignments, what happens?
Same thing that used to happen. We didn't change anything.
So I'm trying to get my head around.
So lessons is a kind of a cover sheet
Mm-hmm.
for all the other things that you have built into your course.
Mm-hmm.
So if one particular week or one particular unit you want them to look at some resources, you want them to do some assignments, you want to have a conversation in a forum, you want to display a video, all those things you put in order for that container, that unit. But the unit itself, like, except for doing things like building an introductory paragraph or maybe just situating a embedded video, you're not really building new things for each lesson or unit. You're pulling things in from other places.
Okay, so this is really helpful. So if we click on my resources folder, the way I currently have things organized is I just have a series of folders which aren't organized by unit, but they're organized by thing. So, for example, if we open up this in-class content slides folder, every time I have a class, I have a set of slides that kind of guides the discussion. So as I think about transitioning from my current structure into the lesson structure, what would make sense is if I had my class 1 notes in unit 1.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That was the next thing I was going to suggest, is that we go and grab some resources. So
Okay, good.
the way that they do this is they say add content link.
Okay.
Again, they make it kind of hard
Yep.
to know what they're trying to do sometimes. Okay, so we're in class content slides, and we're in the first one.
Yep. Do I select?
It's select, yeah, that's what we need to do.
And then I probably have to...
There we are.
Okay, so now I can envision this way it's currently being created. It's just going to create a list and perhaps not in the right order, or perhaps...
You get to reorder it here.
Okay,
So you want to have some kind of introductory text
Yes.
that tells people what they're up to.
yes,
So you do that by saying add content and saying add text.
okay. Okay, great, so I'll just type something simple in just so we can have it as a
Okay.
placeholder.
Okay, great. So obviously you'd want this part to be before the others.
Right,
So you click reorder,
okay,
and this is where you can drag them to where they want to be.
great, and let's also just put class notes up 1 and
Mhm.
homework.
Now I'm going to make a suggestion. Some people like to show the learning objectives as a series of bullets to make it more scannable, and also to use a header that says, here's what you're about to get.
Yes,
So I'm almost seeing learning objectives embedded here, but there seem to be more instructional objectives. Like you, the teacher, is going to introduce something.
yes,
You want the students to take a look, but what do you want them to do with that look? So let me pause the video again, and let's see if we can rewrite these as student-centered objectives.
perfect.
Student-centered learning says that students are sharing responsibility for their own learning. They want to actually make sure these things happen for themselves, but also creating a warm overview that gives them a taste of what they're going to experience and helps them ease their math phobia. Now this is still fairly texty, so one could include a YouTube video, one could include a picture of yourself, one could include an illustration. Let's think about what could go there. Okay, so now we found an image that we think would be fun to start with, just as a placeholder.
Just as a placeholder.
Now, we could get the URL to the image and then include it that way. The problem is that if they ever move the image, then you have a blank spot on your course. The other alternative is to save the image to your computer and then upload it. There isn't a clipboard that is going to allow you to copy and paste it. So if I save my image, I've saved it on my desktop because I know I'm going to want to get rid of it later. And then I go back to my course. We're going to add content. I think let's do that one. And now we're going to browse for that picture. And now we would reorder this and put that on the top. Now, if we are uncomfortable with the size of the image, as it relates to the rest of this text, we can make it a little smaller for it to respect that. So we need to include both the width and the height as parameters. Let's try 400 by 300. That seems like an appropriate size.
That's good, yep.
Okay, and if we don't like this showing up over here, then we can put it someplace else if we want. Like in the alt text. That's a good place to include it. So somebody who is visually impaired will have somebody say to them the alt text. I don't know if that's going to help anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So now we have this as our lesson. Do they know what they're supposed to do with these things?
So, great question. Today, what I do is I use the class notes to guide the agenda of the day, and at the end of the class, I make the class notes available to the students, which alleviates some of the burden of taking notes. They have the class notes.
Okay, so I'm going to highlight this and make this heading 2 like the other headings.
Yep.
It's very important for the sake of people with disabilities that instead of making things larger by changing the font size, you say we have standard sizes for the fonts and we have headings that are different sizes, and it all works nicely with Read, Write, Gold and other programs that provide menus that organize the content on pages for people.
Okay.
So we're going to have a little word about the class notes, which is the okay, so now we know why there's a PDF there and what students are supposed to do with it. What do we want to say about assignments? Great, so now they know that assignments are homework assignments that they do between class, and that once they submit their answers, they will be given access to an answer key below those. And we're going to then configure that now in our lesson flow. Now, is your answer key available as a resource now?
It is. If we go to the resources.
So we're going to say add content.
Yep.
We're going to say add content link. We're going to choose an existing resource. Answer keys.
Yep.
Homework 1.
Yep.
And we have to go and click select.
Yep.
And then we say continue. And the beauty thing that happens now is we click edit here. And we say, don't release this item until all prerequisites are completed.
Excellent. How does this answer key know that homework 1.1 is the prerequisite?
I think it's just the flow
Okay.
of the assignments here.
Okay.
Okay, so now we're in good shape. And if we want to test what this looks like to a student,
Yep.
which would be a good idea, we're going to say view site as a student. Which will look a lot nicer.
Nice. So they see this shadow, but they can't actually access it.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Now this is written over here. Maybe we want to highlight that in some way to get their eyes a little bit more on it.
Yes.
So let's go and do that. We're going to exit the student view. Edit this overview. Scroll down. And I would say a yellow highlight would be the way to go.
Okay.
So that would be this button here. And again, if we view the site as a student.
Nice.
All right. I think we are in good shape.
I have one last question,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm thinking about the syllabus. Does it make sense to leave the syllabus where it is, or do we build the syllabus into the lessons? Do I need to think about that? What do you
Well,
think?
I find that one of the problems that happens is that syllabi are created very often for the sake of a department head to know that all of the requirements are being met. What we're designing here is a student interface to the lesson. So the principle is to write no more than you absolutely have to, so that they don't have to read any more than they have to. They always have access to the syllabus and they can go and click on it, but going and copying and pasting text from the syllabus into the lesson usually only results in a lot of extra text that people don't need to see.
Okay, great. I like
All
it.
right, well, let's take a look at what we have.